mediation, to my mind, is a very kind and supportive process to resolve conflict. It's a process that allows the parties to determine the outcome that they want. And therefore, usually it's not only is it a credible outcome, but it's a sustainable outcome. So for all those reasons, it feels like from the party's perspective, it's the best possible outcome. And of course, if there's a client involved, mediation tends to be a lot quicker and therefore more cost effective than going down the formal route.
Hi everyone, I'm Stuart Lawrence, the founder of Mediator Locator, and welcome to our short video series, Meet the Mediators. In this series, we're getting to know the people behind the role. Mediator Locator is a national mediation service connecting clients, law firms, and organisations across all sectors, and we have a panel of expert mediators who are also experienced in legal matters. Mediation is all we do. We're not a directory, we're actually a referral service, and we take care to choose the right mediator for you. And this series is a great way to see the human side of mediation and to meet the mediators and understand a little bit more about why choosing the right mediator can make all the difference. So let's get started. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Fiona Gray. Fiona is a specialist employment mediator. Fiona, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to where you are today.
Yes. Hi, Stuart. Great to see you again. I became a mediator approximately 4 years ago now, and it felt for me like a natural progression. Unlike many of your panel members, I am not a lawyer. I'm an HR professional, but I came to HR from a background of operational leadership. And when I was looking to add to my toolbox of skills within the HR field, I came across mediation, and it felt for me like a perfect fit. And in my role recently with Anderson Strathern LLP, I've worked alongside lawyers, some of whom are mediators, but I worked with clients from a non-legal perspective, mediating in the main workplace mediations. And I was able to call upon my many years working with large teams of people, my HR advice, and my employment law lens, if you like. So it's been a career path for me, and I'm delighted that I've fallen across mediation. It feels as though it suits my background really, really well.
And you said you are occupational roles and sort of in business. So were you working for a company previously?
Yes, I've spent many years working in various different leadership capacity roles for the John Lewis Partnership, which is a network that you'll possibly be aware of.
Yes.
John Lewis and Waitrose. So my career with the organisation spanned across a number of years in department stores and in logistics, and that included the supermarket chain as well. So I got exposure to a great diversity of individuals. Anybody that knows of the company will appreciate it as a co-owned business, and employee engagement is key in that. And that has become part of my DNA. And again, that is one of the reasons why mediation sits really comfortable with me, because as mediators, we encourage our parties to take ownership and make their own decisions and determine how they want to move forward and what is going to be practical for them, and giving them a level of autonomy that you don't always get if you are going down a formal route, which unfortunately in business, sometimes you end up going down a formal route with an employee. So my background really was largely John Lewis, but I've also got a fair amount of experience in the third sector or voluntary sector or charity sector. People call it different things. Both in my capacity as chairperson, non-executive directors of different companies, and more recently I'm involved with the Chairs Network for leadership in third sector organisations in Scotland. And a number of my mediations that I have done, workplace mediations via the Scottish Mediation vehicle have been from the third sector.
Okay.
So I do brand myself as private, public, and third sector mediator.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And you said that you qualified as a mediator 4 years ago. What was the catalyst that prompted you to do the qualification?
I met somebody at a third sector conference, actually, and we were talking. We'd had similar career backgrounds, and she said, "Have you ever thought about mediation?" And she had just trained with Core Solutions Mediation, which is it's a global mediation organisation, but it's founded by a gentleman, John Sturrock, here in Edinburgh. He's a KC, and I trained with John on Louise's recommendation. He mediates very large, very complex disputes across the world. And I wanted to have more training in workplace mediation. So I trained with another organisation called the Mediation Partnership, and kind of tried to hone my workplace mediation experience and skills with them. So I trained with 2 different organisations, and I became accredited. I think it was 4 years ago. Time flies.
Okay. Yeah, it does indeed. And what is it that you find most rewarding about mediation?
Oh, well, given the background I've just explained, not least working with clients who come to a law firm looking for a formal way of resolving a dispute. By complete contrast, mediation, to my mind, is a very kind and supportive process to resolve conflict. It's a process that allows the parties determine the outcome that they want. And therefore, usually it's not only is it a credible outcome, but it's a sustainable outcome. So for all those reasons, it feels like from the party's perspective, it's the best possible outcome. And of course, if there's a client involved, mediation tends to be a lot quicker and therefore more cost effective than going down the formal route.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned that you have your specialism in employment. In when you do mediations, is there any particular type of mediation that you enjoy more than any other? I know it's obviously in the employment context, but within that context, is there anything that you particularly enjoy doing?
I enjoy working with parties who are in dispute, but there is a real will for them to resolve that dispute. And when I can work with parties who are looking for a comprehensive settlement agreement, that to me adds to the sincerity of their reason for wanting to do the mediation. And better still, if the parties then say, actually, yeah, we're quite happy to share this settlement agreement and the detail of that agreement with somebody in the organisation, say, for argument's sake, the HR director, then for me, that's the best possible outcome, because somebody in their internal organisation is also then going to support them through to make sure that they deliver on what they've agreed they want to deliver.
I mean, there's so much flexibility in the mediation process to allow more innovative solutions. I mean, you sort of touched on the piece that comes from mediating and the ownership. I mean, are there any other benefits that you see, sort of major benefits that you see that you're particularly drawn to in mediation?
Yeah, I think looking at the workplace mediation again, for me, confidentiality is a point of difference between mediation and a formal process. HR departments will tell parties involved in an investigation, oh, it's all totally confidential, and it is, but there is always a small group of people who have access to that confidentiality. In mediation, confidential means confidential. It's really tight. Nobody need know anything apart from the parties, and that helps me get the best out of the individuals when I'm mediating. So in addition,
with a really high sort of success rate, circa 90%, I think perhaps, in your experience in the employment context, you've often got situations where you've got relationships that need to continue in other areas of law and conflict. Perhaps you want a resolution, then you can go your separate ways. But in your area of employment, there's often going to be an ongoing relationship. So mediation becomes much more important in preserving that relationship. Do you see value in that as well?
Definitely. And I think that's going back to the point I was making about the settlement agreement. That's exactly the reason for it. Unlike commercial mediations, I'm doing a simple procedure commercial mediation tomorrow with two parties. Typical, it's a tradesman has fallen out with his client. They need not see each other ever again. So we'll be, comparatively speaking, a bish bosh. Let's talk about the money involved. Let's see if we can get an apology over the line. And it hopefully will be quite quick. They'll agree what they want out of the mediation, and they can move forward and never see one another again. In workplace, the longevity of a relationship, not just for the parties, but for the wider team, is really important.
And it can feel really personal, can't it? Which is why mediation is so powerful, because it can fix situations and set the tone going forward. No, that's right. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. And finally, and if you're happy to, can you give a quick comment about your experience of working with Mediator Locator?
Yes, happy to. Well, of course, Stuart, we met about 18 months ago now when you were
That's
touring
correct, yeah.
Scotland on your motorbike, I seem to recall.
True. That's correct, yeah.
You came into the office and we chatted about what was at that point a project in its infancy, I think. And yes. I was drawn to you. You're a really approachable, personable chap, and all my interactions with you since becoming involved with Mediator Locator have been like that, which I think is really important in the field of mediation, because parties need to feel that they want to approach somebody, they want to build that rapport with an individual, they want to build that trust and respect with the individual. And our relationship has continued. We met again, we've met a few times online, and we met again in March at your conference. And I'm very excited to be joining you at the beginning of November when you're running your CPD session on neurodiversity and mediators being aware of mediating when there's neurodiversity involved. So my experience has been great, Stuart, honestly. Delighted to be part of your network.
That's really appreciated. Thank you very much. And I think that brings us to a conclusion. So thank you, Fiona, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of Meet the Mediators. If you'd like to learn more about mediation or find the right mediator, or if you'd like to instruct Fiona, I couldn't recommend her more highly, please do contact us at mediatorlocator.com. And until next time, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.